by Serral. And if he loses this Nexus, I can't. No, that's going to be it. GG.
But the walk is cheap, so get up and get out. Time to face the reality. I'm the monster from your dreams. You don't wanna see the side of me, so get up and get out.
Two giant worlds. Now, it's time to battle it out. Today, the prelude of transformation begins. Ultimate game. More fierce contenders. The ultimate battle to be the best of the best. Finally, the two players who survived to the last moment are standing here. The infinite potential that has finally exploded. Polish pride, Auto Esports, Elazer. The Lord of Circuit. Seeking GSL versus the world's second consecutive title. The Overmind of Zerg. ENCE Esports, Serral. (2019) GSL versus the World Grand Finals. Elazer versus Serral.
This is the kingdom, heaven coming down to the corners of the earth. This is the kingdom, come alive in us, gonna load up this whole world. This is the freedom, freedom to break off every chain. This is the kingdom.
2019 한여름의 멋진 축제 GSL 대 더 월드 대회 결승전 대결이 이곳에서 펼쳐지겠습니다. 일레이저 선수와 세랄 선수의 대결, 오늘 결승전 앞두고 선수들과 이야기를 나눠보는 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 일레이저 선수가 GSL 대 월드에서 결승전 무대에 올라올 확률, 어느 커뮤니티에서 1%의 확률, 그 1% 뚫고 올라왔습니다. 일라이저 선수도 이 무대에 올라와서 결승전 치를 거는 예측하셨는지요?
You know, there was 1% chance that you made it to the finals. Did you expect yourself to be here today on stage?
No, obviously not. I mean, coming into this tournament, I didn't have much expectation. I just wanted to win one match and just, prove that I deserve to be here. But right now, it's really unexpected. It's a really good result.
당연히 예상하지 못한 결과입니다. 그냥 저는 여기 오면서 진짜 한 경기만 이기자 그런 생각으로 왔는데 정말 예상치도 못했습니다.
네, 이제 정말 한 경기만 이기면, 세랄만 이기면 GSL 월드에서 일레이저 선수가 생애 최초로 우승을 차지하는 거예요. 어떠세요, 마음가짐이?
So that one match, if you win the next match against Serral, you'd be the champion of GSL versus the world. How do you feel right now?
Yeah, feeling really good, and I think my ZVZ is like maybe top 3, top 4 in the world. So I think I have a shot. Obviously, Serral is top 1 ZVZ in the world, so it's gonna be difficult. But I think I've got a shot.
아 저도 정말 이기고 싶은데 제가 사실 저저전이 제일 이제 자신감 있는 매첩이기 때문에 네. 저는 근데 이 자리에 있어서 그냥 기쁩니다. 매일.
네. 자 그러면요. 세랄 선수의 좀 이야기 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 세랄 선수는요. 일레이저 선수가 결승 무대에 올라올 것을 예측을 하셨습니까?
Did you expect Elazer to be here in the finals?
Well, I thought he had a good shot in the first match for sure against Dark, since he's in very good. He's very good in CVC, like he just said. But no, I didn't expect him to get to the finals for sure. But I think it's a nice surprise for all of us.
아 솔직히 첫 경기는 다크선 상대로 저저전이어서 그거 정도는 이길 가능성이 있다고 생각했는데 결승전까지 올 거는 정말 예상치 못했고요. 그래도 여기 있는 게 정말 좋은 것 같습니다.
네, 그렇다면 세랄 선수의 오늘 경기 결승전 경기 일레이저 선수와 대결에서 몇 대 몇 정도 예상하세요?
Which score do you predict?
Not a fan of predicting scores, but let's go with 4-2 for me.
아 제가 예측하는 걸 싫어하는데요. 뭐 저는 한 4대2. 아 당연히 제가 4고요.
제가 사고요. 그 정도로요. 자, 그 강한 자신감이 좀 펼쳐지는데 그렇다면은 오늘 경기 펼치는 일레이저 선수에게 경기 시작 전에 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
Please say something to Elazer that you're going to play against real soon.
Your CVC is not too bad, but I think it's no match for mine.
네가 저저전을 뭐 그래 못하는 건 알지만 아직 난 아니지?
그렇다면 일레이저 선수도 오늘 확실하게 세랄 넘는 모습 보여줘야 되거든요. 세랄 선수에게 한 말씀.
So please answer to that.
I mean, I've been beaten by him too many times. You know, it's time for a change, really.
아 내가 너한테 많이 진 건 사실이지만 오늘 좀 바뀔 때가 된 것 같아.
와! 결승전 대결 선수들 이야기 들어봤습니다. 선수들 경기 펼쳐질 준비 지금 끝냈거든요. 이제 GSL 대 월드에서 우승자가 어떤 선수가 될지 여러분의 뜨거운 박수 함성으로 결승전 대결을 시작하겠습니다.
And we are finally here, the grand finals of GSL versus the world. A very shocking matchup here, Elazer versus Serral.
Specifically on one half of this final is very shocking, yes. The other side, not so much.
I like when he said it's a nice surprise for all of us, and I feel like especially me. You know, like I thought he's gonna have a best of 7 against like Stats or something.
You could have been Maru, that would have been hard.
But when they asked Serral to say something to Elazer, he basically said like, "You're quite good, but I'm better." Did I hear fear in his voice?
No.
Did I hear fear in his
All
voice?
right, I'll throw you a bone. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to say yes. Fear of being on stage with a microphone, not fear of the game.
This is. We could have the craziest upset of all time. Look, Elazer barely got into the GSL versus the world. Upset after upset after upset.
Got in very easily.
Well, no, but it only took him a day until he got all those votes at once. But we didn't even know if we were going to have him here initially, right? I mean, when you think of GSL versus the world, you're of course expecting the top tier Code S players, but then Serrals, specials, players like that. Elazer has been dominant in the past, but this is a totally new Elazer, and I think it's pretty apparent when we look at him. Even he's a little bit surprised to be here, but I mean, he's beaten all these other players. Maybe he's got a shot.
No question that he deserves to be up here. It wasn't a fluke. He didn't have an easy side of the bracket. He took some absolute monsters on the way through here. You know, yes, of course, he had another world player in one of his rounds, but that was against Time, who looked so good in TVZ. It was ridiculous.
Well, let's not forget what Elazer said to Serral there. You've beaten me a lot before, but it's time for a change. Did I hear confidence in that voice?
A little bit, maybe.
Let's look at those numbers next to their names real quick.
Yeah, they say 13-3. There's obviously a lot of online matches that happen as well. I think this is only map score. Series-wise, historically, all-time, they are 17-2 in favor of Serral.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know how relevant the past is right now. Considering how well Elazer is playing in this tournament, I think we have to give him a clean slate here.
Yeah. Honestly, I think past for this tournament actually hasn't mattered at all. Because it just seems like every time I'm like, oh, this person's favored, we actually look ridiculous.
Yeah,
so all their match history, all their what they like to do, who they're favored against, just doesn't seem to matter. Although today has been a little bit more back to the status quo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, again, crazy results. There's no Koreans in the finals. Right now, it's a Europe versus Europe match. Poland versus Finland. Again, Serral, basically the undisputed greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time. But look, it seems like the Europeans are really getting incredibly strong here, especially the Zerg players. Maybe Elazer has something that could really change our minds.
I mean, a final is a final, and obviously Elazer is going to bring it, and he is capable of at least taking maps here, and maybe if he gets a couple of victories in a row, maybe Serral starts getting a tiny bit nervous, but I mean, Serral is the favorite, guys, let's be clear. I don't care how well Elazer has played.
Our map lineup: New Repugnancy, Thunderbird, Kings Cove, Acropolis, Cyber Forest, Turbo Cruise 84, and if we go to set 7, excuse me, Kairos Junction. Our game is now loading up. Elazer versus Serral starts now in the GSL versus the World Finals.
4, 3, 2, 1. Finals. Match 1.
It all has been coming down to this. In the bottom left here in the blue, the Polish contender. He is
Ego Esports, Elazer.
And that's upright, the reigning champion of this circuit. This is
ENCE Esports, Serral.
It's an absolute honor to be bringing you guys the first 2 games of this grand final, Serral versus Elazer, a match that has happened a lot in the past, and even though Elazer only beat Serral twice, 2 of them were actually very big series. One of them was the finals of a Challenger in 2018, and the other one was the WCS event we were talking about. It wasn't Valencia, but it was Montreal in 2017, so he did defeat Serral at big stages, but I mean, Serral, it almost becomes boring to praise him because we have praised him so freaking much. But the thing is, though, he deserves it. If there's something that we can be negative about, there's something that we can pick out, we'll gladly do it. But Serral is a sweetheart. Serral is always humble. Serral is funny. Above all, he is just beyond amazing at StarCraft 2.
Whenever I read someone say anywhere, whether it be Twitch chat or forum otherwise, that he's overrated or he wins because his race is OP, my head actually caves in on itself and I need weekend surgery to get it back up to its regular size. It really is one of the dumbest things you will ever read in text formation.
It is amazing to say that, like, this year we feel that he's more beatable than last year. If you look at his 2019, he's like, has Serral been bad this year? You go over all of his results, right? Second place in WCS Winter for almost everybody. That's amazing. For Serral, apparently that's a disappointment. Second place in WCS Summer is like, well, Serral really doesn't have it anymore. He struggles. Once again, anybody else, you would applaud him. Second place at WESG is like, Serral didn't win. No, but he got second again. I think the only somewhat disappointing performance he truly had was maybe the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, where it was a quarter-final. I mean, quarter-final for so many other players. Like, he had a good run, he had a strong showing, and for Serral, that's apparently the absolute worst that he's capable of.
Round of 8 was his worst result this year in all the big hundreds of thousands of dollar tournaments that he's played into this year. So this is a pretty standard, safe opening for both players, a 2.5 minute or roughly their third hatchery for both of them. Just talk about the game real quick. Exact mirrored builds. Nothing really out of the ordinary here on a New Repugnancy.
So if Elazer is going to win this entire grand final, I really think it's gonna, like, I know that his late game looked very good, and a lot of people be like, damn, he looked fantastic in late game against Dark, and he did, the very late game with the Vipers, he looked great. But do you know who's way, way, way better at it than Elazer is? That's Serral. Like, when it comes to Vipers, he's just the absolute best. And even though he lost that one game against Rainer on Thunderbird a couple weeks ago, even up to that final fight,
he was winning that game.
He was winning that game, and he was playing as beautiful as always. You don't want to play those kind of ZVZs against Serral. If Elazer is going to win it, it's going to be by some tech choices, maybe Mudas when Serral's not aware of it, or just very strong Ling Bane play, because I do believe that Elazer has the skills to hold his own in the early stages, and definitely the mid game as well against Serral, but I wouldn't play too many lurker games and stuff like that.
Serral's getting some Lings out on the map here. Both players have got their Baneling nest finished up, so we see Elazer making a couple defensive Banes here. Serral splitting a couple Lings up from the pack just to try and sneak past the natural. Serral is so on point with his scouting, and just like that, straight into the main base with a low hit point Ling, gets a look in, sees that there's no lair just yet, gets a look at the gas saturation as well.
Yeah, starts his own lair immediately, actually, on the right top side, but obviously there is that Baneling nest, and that can always be used for safety. So far, indeed, still pretty identical, other than the fact that Serral's stacking a bit quicker. There we do see +1 melee, range. I'm expecting to do the same from Elazer, because this is not really a map where you go for upgraded Zerglings. I hope to see some of that in this grand final, maybe on Acropolis or on Thunderbird. I think +1 melee builds are really cool, but I think this is much more of a Roach map.
Always nice to get a Baneling there with that Zergling, so of course small, not too critical. Lair starting up for Elazer, and you're spot on there, Roddy. +1 attack coming out for the ranged units. Elazer going to get into the Roach production soon enough as well.
One thing that is kind of nice is that Serral in general obviously plays very safe, right? Because he's so confident and he knows how freaking good he is in this game that he kind of covers all the checkpoints, but Elazer can probably cut a few more corners here and there and just be a little more greedy. So you shouldn't be surprised in this grand final if you're going to see a team where Elazer often is a couple drones ahead as long as nothing happens. That's just because Serral is trying to cover everything, and Elazer knows if I'm going to be like the most safe version of myself ever, I'm probably not gonna win this, so it's more likely that Elazer is gonna cut a couple corners here and there and just play a little more greedy, a little more ambitious, and in that way get a tiny bit ahead and then turn it into a real game.
It's both players with 3 bases, 5 gases have been taken, and Serral moving across the map with some slow Banelings, a handful of Lings as well. Looks like he's just trying to poke, maybe like gut check the defense of Elazer, see if there's any weaknesses.
Yeah, he's making a lot of roaches behind all of this as well. Look at Elazer, by the way. Elazer's up 9 workers, and he's going up to 4 bases quicker than Serral is. Serral seems like he's had enough of it. Maybe he has somehow identified that his opponent is indeed playing a very greedy game. As he drops down the Nidus network, that lair was quite a bit quicker. The +1 range was quicker as well for Serral. Don't forget about that. So Serral is going to try to force a fight while he has +1 and Elazer does not.
So, going to try and decide this one in the mid-game. Elazer trying to get some Dropper Lord action happening here. We know Dropper Lords with Roaches have been fighting their way back.
That's a scout. That's a scout.
There it is. He sees the Nidus Worm there with that Overseer. Good stuff for Elazer. Going to have to get those Roaches on the edge of those creeps to make sure nothing happens to the main base.
Yep.
It's going to be right at the front here.
Very smart by Elazer to immediately cancel his Dropper Lord plan to keep the units at home. He's going to use his Banelings on the Nidus network, so at least he's going to buy some time for himself there. Elazer gets his own +1. He accidentally picks up a couple of his own Roaches.
Well, he could put some of the hurt ones up in there like a Warp Prism, I guess, but that's a little bit tricky. It is kind of working, though. Elazer, nice juggling there. Serral can reinforce right in front of him, though, with that Nidus Worm. He's still holding this line. Elazer with the Queens, really helping himself out there in the defense. Yeah, Serral still with so many more Roaches.
Yeah, the reinforcements are about to show up. Elazer has a lot of units in production, and if all of these units show up, I actually think Elazer should be fine here. That fight obviously went quite good because of all the Queens he had there as well. A couple drones. Whoa!
When did that happen? I didn't even see that at all. The Nidus going into the main base. Serral inside. The lair here of Elazer getting on those drones. 7 of them have gone down. Not the massive drone lead for Serral, though. He needs to do this damage. And a Roach run by the third at the same time. Serral everywhere at once, it seems.
Yep, and he still has a lot of Roaches in the main base. He's winning the fight in the main base. That's massive. GG. Just like that. Serral gets the 1-0 lead here.
7 and a bit minutes. And we're already a map into the series here with Serral Ion Nasatala getting himself a point on the board.
It felt like the initial fight wasn't even that bad for Elazer, right? Like, I know he was down on the roaches, but he had the queens there. He was dropping the transfusions, using the drop alert. I think it was really cool. It's just the Nidus in the main seemed to really caught him off guard.
And that's, you know, I was mentioning it there when the Nidus Worm comes up, you know, you got to make sure that it doesn't get into your main, because that feels like the knockout punch. Like, yeah, you can take a few glancing blows from the outside. You can always push them back from your choke points at the third and at the natural, especially on that high ground. But the main, it's just different.
Almost a little bit of a reality check as well, where Serral's like, hey, you might be greedy, but if I were you, I wouldn't be too greedy in this grand finals, because if you get too carried away, I will punish you.
All right, well, we are just about to get into the second game here. It is going to be on Thunderbird, a nice big map here, but of course some people like to play against the image of the map and try and catch their opponents with their pants down. We've seen some 12 pulls in this map, of course. Will that happen again, and who will do it? I don't know, man. Who's gonna drop the first 12 pull in the series if we see a 12 pull, do you think, Roddy?
Maybe on some of the smaller maps. I wouldn't be shocked if Elazer tries to do it, but for now, let's get ready for the big map on Thunderbird.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the top left here, currently down in the series, hailing from Poland, he is
Ego Esports, Elazer.
such a fantastic 2017. Glad to see him on top of the world again here.
Yeah, he's been so cute. He's been so happy. It's great to see. But he wants to put up a great fight against this man in the right bottom side, the world champ.
ENCE Esports, Serral.
Whoa, that is a big Serral fan in the front row right there. I love Serral, but I can't say that I've had a fit of excitement when he's played
I've
against.
said like that in front of my screen at home.
I actually, when Serral won this tournament last year, I remember standing next to you because Nick and Dan were casting the final, obviously, and I remember jumping in the air and actually doing like an 80s end of the movie when the credits are running fist bump in the air. You know, when they usually freeze you in mid-frame and then they just roll the credits over your mid-air jumping body.
And then you landed and you got an ankle injury.
That's exactly right.
It's good to see Fear Dragon here, of course, as well. Does Elazer have a gas yet? I do not believe so right now. We were a bit distracted there. So
Yeah,
it's
gasless.
gasless opening. Obviously, there's a good map for it, right? You can get that wall off. We saw him do this against Dark as well. So he's once again going to try to play a very economic game over here. But this is the kind of map I'd really love to see. Something crazy, right? A couple of upgraded Zerglings, Muda play, stuff like that. I really like this map for late game ZVZ. Even though, like I said, I mean, I do not think that Elazer should play ultra late game. But I do believe that he can play certain strategies to go up to like 3-4 base scenarios very quickly, strong economy, and then try to hit some timing, right? How often don't we see like Lings into Mudas into like a massive Muda Bane attack, something among those lines,
well,
right?
you're absolutely right, Roddy. Like, be a little bit greedy,
Yep.
but don't go the late game.
No.
Like, sometimes people will be like, oh, greedy means you're going late game. No, absolutely not. Sometimes it just means you want to end it in the mid game with just a big swell of production.
Yep, there's a very big difference between late game and real late game. I mean, late game people are like, oh, 4 bases, that's late game, right? It's like, no, that's not necessarily late game, because people often can just max out and try to win the game there. But if that doesn't happen, they don't necessarily know how to hit the next transitions, right? Like, we're no longer playing Wings of Liberty, where we all sit back, build ultra units, and then basically we're working with the strongest army possible, and then we fight. No, that's not how this goes. There is absolutely opportunity for Elazer to win, you know, big macro games when it comes to 4 or 5 bases, but keep it simple. Don't make the game super complicated. Don't play the Viper War. Don't play too much with lurkers. I do like always for any Zerg player to play Mudas against Serral, because I do feel like he still kind of hates playing against Mudas, where it's just often like he will try to Nidus and just try to end it, but maybe you can you can shut that down, you can prevent it, and like that get a couple of map wins. Because I think for Elazer the most important thing here mainly is get that first W on the board. If you just get one map win on the board here, I think you play a lot more relaxed in the up and coming games.
Yeah, momentum's a big deal, and if you can slow down the momentum of Serral, it gives you a bit more of a relaxed feel going into it, sure. Serral has scouted the timing of the third base of Elazer, so a small economic edge to Elazer, but Serral, he's climbing that tech tree a little bit faster. The leg went down a lot faster than Elazer here.
Could be another Nidus play. Could also this time that he goes just straight into Mudas, because he's probably done his homework. He saw that game that we saw as well, that Elazer played against Dark on this map, and he's like, oh, you go gasless, you go 3 base, that's fine. Maybe Serral is actually the one who's going to go into super quick Spire here.
Yeah.
Or it's Queen. I actually think it's Nidus, right? With the amount of queens that
Yeah, a
Serral's
lot of
building.
lings as well. You
Yeah.
don't make these lings to try and bust through a natural. You make them to try and...
Nidus!
yeah, there it is.
Yep.
You make those lings flood out of the Nidus Worm with the queen support, of course. So a very aggressive timing attack here from Serral. Where would the Nidus go? I mean, you have to get past this wall in somehow, so...
I think what you do is you show up in the front, you drop a Nidus there, but then you also drop one in the main base.
Yeah, that Overlord right there looks very precarious. That's a Nidus spot for
Or
sure.
you can just do the first one there. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
straight in there, mate.
But
What?
Elazer has to be aware of this stuff, right? Like, I know he didn't scout it yet, but I cannot imagine that you've done this build like 10 times and that nobody has Nidus you yet. Like, this seems like a pretty obvious thing. One person goes straight 3-base gasless, the other person is going to Nidus.
I'm looking at the numbers here, Roddy.
Oh my
and
goodness.
considering Elazer has not scouted this one bit, this is on paper looks very rough for Elazer. He's droning right now, Roddy.
I think rough is an understatement,
Yeah,
Maynard.
I
If
think
this
this,
is rough, then...
I think this is about to be the end of our casting journey here at the
Oh
Grand
my
Final.
God. Deja vu of last year after a
Yeah.
couple of cannon rushes, right? The
Yeah.
main base is absolutely in shambles here for Elazer already. That's a ridiculous amount of Zerglings. The Roaches get surrounded as
Oh,
well to
man.
make this even worse.
And just like that, there is so much here from Serral. Elazer desperately trying to scramble the defense, but there is just too much from the champ. This Queen actually kind of blocking him a little bit, but she gets out of the way. Her babies get to work, and Elazer gets torn apart from the inside. GG. And that were Rotterdam and Maynard's 2 sets that we got to cast here from this grand final. It's going to be taste doses from here on out. But what an honor to get to cast a couple games here in Korea at the Afrika Studio. It's been a wonderful event. And this final already pretty short and sweet so far.
Yeah, it really has been an amazing 4 days. I think for all of us, if you love StarCraft, if you follow this tournament, it's been cool. And obviously this final's not over yet, but for Elazer, I mean, he really needs to start picking it up. I'm a bit shocked, right? Because like I don't mind the build that he's trying to do there on Thunderbird. It's a good map to play heavy macro styles, but you gotta be aware of like a Nidus all in, right? Like that seems like pretty straightforward one-on-one StarCraft. One person is very greedy, the other one could potentially all in you. I'm shocked to see him not have any vision at all of his main base.
Something tells me that's probably the last time it's going to happen for Elazer. So we're going to take a short break, and when we return, Game 3 of the Grand Final of GSL vs. the World. Do not go away.